Well, that one went pretty much as we expected it to go. Sixers lose big tonight. Very comfortable win for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Pardon me as I refresh here my computer
Devon tanked
here.
Tonight's game too.
I did. 115-101. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers postgame show live from the Xfinity Lounge. I didn't mail it in. I coasted, kind of like the Cleveland Cavaliers did, to a 14-point victory along with Derek Kyle. I'm Devon Breen, President of Basketball Operations. Thanks to all of you for joining us. We all knew it was pretty much going to happen, right? That's why we thank you all for hanging in here with us. As I see right away, we got a 10 seed from Kyle saying that. This is what we're looking at, 10 seed right now for your Philadelphia 76ers.
Not quite yet, but they are inching very close.
It is not looking good. So we'll get to, as you say that, we'll get to the stretch presented by Rothman a little bit later, Kyle. We'll talk about the upcoming schedule going forward for the Sixers, how they are having this particular part of their season happening at the exact wrong time for them. And we'll also get to an unsung hero or two from tonight's basketball game. But Derek, tonight, how did you enjoy watching this one?
I didn't.
All right, cool. Thanks, everybody. Just go back and watch one of our older shows.
If we're going to have an honest conversation about this, I thought they competed pretty hard, especially in the first half, especially in the first quarter, aided by the fact that Cleveland didn't make a ton of outside shots. But I thought they competed well. And when you're sitting here and you look at all the names and all the dollars that are not in the lineup, competing hard is like the number one thing you're looking for. So I thought they acquitted themselves pretty well in that regard. I think you got some, I don't want to say encouraging performances, because quite frankly, I don't think you can really take much of anything from this game. But like I thought Justin Edwards getting in there, taking some outside shots, making some outside shots, that was nice to see. I thought Beauchamp gave you a little bit. Like I think there's little tiny nuggets that you can take away from this. But for the most part, the highlight of this game was that it ended. You can move on to the next one. Hopefully that next one involves VJ Edgecombe playing it so you can get a little bit better quality of basketball to watch. But there was no chance they were winning this game. And it's a tough game to analyze because on the one hand, like it sucked to watch. But on the other hand, you can't really get mad because I didn't really expect anything more from them.
Yeah, I agree with you because I think if you look at the areas where we traditionally are like, I can't believe they did this or didn't do that, I thought they actually did a pretty good job in most of those tonight. Like Cleveland didn't even win the offensive rebounding battle tonight. That was a battle. Now, some of that is they made a lot of shots and the Sixers didn't have rebounds to go get.
Right.
And they also got fouled quite a bit, and that's a problem for the Sixers right now with both the structure and their personnel and decision-making and whatnot, but they kept them off the offensive glass. I thought their choices in terms of offensive rebounding and getting back in transition were honestly, we talked about being on either extreme, right? Either go for everything or go for nothing. And I thought a lot of the time they decided to chase nothing and just get back. And so they gave themselves chances. And it just turns out they had nowhere near enough talent. They had nowhere near enough shooting. They don't have elite defenders. They don't have much of a chance to do anything. I'll tell you the thing that I think I was most struck by tonight, and it's something I've been sitting on and thinking about for a while, but when you're playing this particular team and this particular player, I think it jumps out at you. It sure feels like they made the wrong decision on James Harden, at least James Harden, if you were going to eventually go then sign Paul George. I could certainly, and now look, there's been a lot of he said about the whole thing. I think on the Sixers end of things, they've always said, well, they never got to the negotiating table with Harden. Harden said in all his public things, everyone knows Daryl Morey is a liar and felt that he was not going to get what he felt he was promised at some point. I think the broader point, though, is that James Harden has still been playing at a high level for years, has been an offensive engine for years after leaving Philadelphia. And on top of that, despite the fact that he actually is hurt right now, he's been durable and on the floor and a guy that you can count on every single night. And I think as we have gone back and done the accounting of signing Paul George and having him as one of your max contracts, big salary guys, that one of the miscalculations I think was made there is that his injury problems next to Joel Embiid is specifically problematic because you go from maybe you have a high ceiling with everybody on the floor, but the floor just completely drops out when those two guys aren't there. And I get all the documented playoff struggles with Harden throughout the years in Philadelphia, in LA, in Houston, in OKC. I get all of it. I get the downsides. I get the concern about holding up into his late 30s, given his, we'll call them off the court habits. But he has put up when there were a lot of people who were like, I don't know if I want to bet on that guy anymore. And turns out this team actually needs regular season performers. This team needs somebody who can come out, get other people involved, create open shots, hit threes himself, and make life easier for people. So the further we get removed from that summer and then the decisions that have come since, it just seems inexplicable that whole relationship fell apart and they ended up in a place where he is still producing on yet another team and they can't get their third guy even on the floor for most of the year.
And he wanted what? The 5 year, he wanted the full guarantee, right, of the max contract.
Yeah,
based on what.
And look, almost everybody was like
terrified of that contract.
And so it's a lot of this is just hindsight bias, right? But we're also not paid the big bucks to make these decisions, and we have the least information compared to like a Daryl Morey, an Elton Brand, ownership, coaching staff, whoever to make these decisions. Again, they will always push back and say it just never got to the point they could even have the formal conversations. Whether that is the thing that you actually believe in, or that you take stock in, whatever. But,
I don't. Yeah.
Again, just looking back at it, looking at Harden tonight, where the Sixers actually played when they were trapping, sending doubles, playing high. I thought the coverages and the way they react were actually pretty good. And you see the value of an elite passer, right? That he could be in a phone booth, two guys around him, and flip one over his shoulder, put one between two guys through traffic. He's hitting pull-up threes. He even hit some like off-ball relocation threes tonight. I wish he would have taken more of those shots while he was here because he never took those, and maybe it's because he thinks it's last chance saloon.
Some catch and shoot ones too.
Yeah, he mostly took them here on offensive rebounds. Was always his big catch and shoot spot.
He always wanted to take that one dribble to his left.
Yes. Yeah.
But anyway, I was thinking about that all game watching this game, and I've thought about it for a while because I was much higher on that Harden year in 23. Joel wins MVP. He plays really well. Team plays well without Joel on the floor. I was higher on that team than a lot of people. I know the season ended the way it did, and everyone was very disappointed, wanted to move on. But we're now 3 years removed from that, and he's still capable of going out there and putting up, all around performances on the floor on offense.
Yeah, and I see people in the chat being like, well, Maxey would get traded if Harden was here. Maxey wouldn't get his max contract. I don't agree with that at all. Maxey is an elite off-ball player. I think Maxey likes playing off-ball. And quite frankly, one of the benefits of having kept Harden over going the cap space plan and eventually getting Paul George is that you can get Maxey off-ball and really unlock that part of his game where it seems like every February and March and April, we sit here 3 years in a row going like, man, they just trap Max to get the ball out of his hands and then he can't do anything because you have nobody else who can really create at all off the dribble. I think that's one of the benefits, quite frankly, of keeping James Harden. Look, I wanted no parts of giving him a 5-year max. I don't think he would have stayed here without a 5-year max. I think that was a huge point of contention. I 100% understand. Quite frankly, I gave Daryl credit for trying to play a little bit of hardball with James Harden because he had
we all assumed that it was just going to be he's giving his guy the money.
Yeah, because he had really catered to James the entire time they were together. This was the first time he really tried to exert any kind of pressure. James didn't really react well to that kind of pressure, and here we are. But yeah, I mean, look, he played I think 75 games per year over his first 2 years after leaving Philly. He has been a very consistent performer compared to everyone here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, so that part sucks when you have to sit there and watch James Harden continue to do what he does, even though he forces his way out like he did more recently with the Clippers. But just looking, as Kyle said, this is now the third year. This would be year number 3. And I'm with you. I thought that they were still a pretty good trio of what you would ask for going forward. I saw SB. I think it was SB Cole saying that it wasn't Harden, despite the fact that the contract, it was Harris and Rivers that they wanted out at the time when they were all here together. But listen,
it's a big super chat.
That's a huge super chat.
Appreciate it.
I'm gonna have to get to that almost immediately.
But yeah, I just seeing him doing what he's able to do, hurt with his fracture that he has in his hand, but still able to go out there and perform. It is frustrating when you have Paul George not just missing games this time, a mental error where he's suspended because of something that a veteran you would hope is more understanding of what he's putting in his body to not allow something like that to happen. So James Harden, fantastic night. I thought they all coasted tonight. I personally thought the Cavs coasted tonight. And Donovan Mitchell had 10 points and he really didn't try tonight. They were just out there just doing whatever. Dean Wade had 10 boards very easily in this one. And then you see where it wasn't Jalen Tyson tonight. It was Keon Ellis that came off the bench and hit 4 out of 6 in the first half from behind the 3-point line. So
guy who was out there and available for not a whole lot, by the way, as we go down the list of, boy, there was nobody else out there that could have upgraded the team any which way.
Yeah. So, again, about as pretty much as we expected tonight to go. But the James Harden piece, Kyle's right. It is tough to sit there and watch him continue to do what he is doing right now while Paul George cannot play basketball, not because of an injury, because of a suspension until March 25th. And man, could they use him at this very moment with this stretch that they are in now with 18 games remaining on the schedule. Let's get to that super chat because it was such a big super chat. So we want to get to that right away. And we want to say that, all right, what's the name?
Eniolis.
All right.
Thank you, Eniolis, for a really generous super chat. It says, this team is a hard watch. Have you seen anything else lately you'd recommend?
Well,
I've been on a real movie kick, so I'll cede the floor to you guys until I go through my recent letterbox.
Well, I know what I'm going to say, and there's no way Devon's going to recommend it, so go ahead.
Is it drone stuff?
No.
I've been watching reruns of some old sitcoms and other basketball teams. So if you want to do some old Married with Children, some old Martin, go for it. But some of the other basketball teams, especially which we'll get to our standings watch a little bit later, Charlotte is fun. Miami is winning. They're playing some pretty good basketball. Boston with Jason Tatum coming back. You understand why that's a good watch. So I would recommend those. Derek, what's your recommendation?
Night of the Seven Kingdoms is fantastic. If you were a Game of Thrones fan, I think you'll really enjoy this. This is one where it feels like early era Game of Thrones, but on a smaller scale. Like what they're trying to cover isn't nearly as sprawling, but it's very character driven. They have good source material to work from, and I really enjoyed that first season.
I watched one episode. And the guy walked out of the it was a window, but no windows. He just walked out and just fell to, So that's the one episode I watched. I think it's like a meme or a GIF that's out there where the guy just steps out and.
Oh yeah. Tommen. Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah.
Right, I have a full list I could give you guys because Bree and I, or at least I have been a lot lately, but Bree is on the letterbox, right?
Some recommendations in there.
Been watching a lot of movies lately. I watched What's Eating Gilbert Grape for the first time ever. Young Leo, very good. I was not prepared for how much of the movie was just, yo mama is so fat, essentially it's a drama, but that's kind of the whole plot of the movie. And you'll see that if you watch it, but very good young Leonardo DiCaprio performance. A lot of the Hong Kong John Woo directed movies are now on Amazon Prime. And I've seen a lot of them, so I'm
subtitled.
Yes,
okay.
Well, you can watch them in English, like the dubs, but the dubs are always so horrible. Like so, like the killer
7-second delay.
The killer is one of his best ones, and if you watch that one in English, I think he refers to the one. It's like a good cop, bad cop, but not actually cops kind of thing. Refers to him as Mickey Mouse in the English version, and it just. The voice actor does such a terrible job. So I watched A Better Tomorrow 2, which is the sequel to A Better Tomorrow, also by John Woo, that turned Chow Yun Fat into like an international star. If you've ever seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or some other American cinema or films that became bigger in America, A Better Tomorrow is what made him a star. And the final 15 minutes of A Better Tomorrow 2 are the most insane action, gunfight, sword fight, grenades being thrown I've probably ever seen. I would highly recommend that one. I actually watched the first one first, so it makes a little bit of sense to you. Also, been on a big Traders kick. That's been a Bree I know is watching some of this season, but is not caught up. I won't spoil what happened in the newest season of Traders because it did end. Nobody in the chat spoil it for Bree. But as somebody who hates reality TV, I got very invested in it. So worth checking out if you have some binge watching hours to spend.
There you go. Or honestly, you could also watch the final 18 games of the Sixers season because
we're still here.
We're still here. Gene pointed out the PHLY Sixers podcast is pretty good. Thanks, Gene, as always. But they're also in a fight right now for positioning, seeding in the Eastern Conference. So, yes, they are a tough watch. But when you do get some of the players back, they have something to play for. And you would hope that they're motivated, especially if they fall into the play-in once the season comes to an end. If they are all out there together collectively, you would think that they could still be a dangerous team, at least for a 1 game or the 2 game that they may have to play in a play-in situation. So still 18 games to go. I know it's not an easy watch right now because all the players are out and injured or suspended, but 18 games to go. This is not last season where you hate watch. This is it's a hate watch in a sense because you don't like the product that's being shown right now. But they're still playing for something. So, but we appreciate it, Eniolas, for the really
very generous
super chat that you gave us. So thank you so much. Thanks to all of the people in the chat giving some recommendations on what else to watch because there have been a lot in there and there are a ton of people in here with us. So hit the like button, like and subscribe, spread the word, leave a comment. We appreciate it. When we get back, let's do the Togo Unsung Hero when we get back on the other side. We'll get to the stretch a little bit later, so we'll give you the stretch of games that the Sixers do have, including tomorrow's game on the second night of a back-to-back where they host the Memphis Grizzlies and everything else that goes beyond that. We'll talk about that stretch and also the standings with it. It's the PHLY Sixers postgame show. The Sixers lose to the Cavs, swept this season 4-0. Just like the Hawks.
Oh, by the way, Philly Reddick had a question. Any updates on Maxey Pinky yet? We will get to that because there were some Nick Nurse quotes out of Cleveland tonight that we'll share with you guys.
All right, you got it. We'll do that when we get back. Sixers lose their second in a row. One more game tomorrow night on the second night of a back-to-back. We're breaking it all down. Unsung Hero on the other side on the PHLY Sixers postgame show.
You guys ever have one of those days where you're moving nonstop and you realize I forgot to eat? I had one of those exactly today. And Wawa came in so clutch for me. We've been telling you all about their $5 deals that happen all day. It starts with the big breakfast deal. Today, I needed to get myself a bacon, egg, and cheese sizzly on a croissant, hash brown, and an iced coffee. That's all for $5. You can get hot coffee too, any size that you want. And then the deals keep rolling the rest of the day with the $5 deals they're doing on their roasted and crispy chicken sandwiches. They are delicious. They even have a new limited time teriyaki flavor that you got to try. It's real food, real value, built for busy days like the one I had today. Let me tell you, don't move furniture around the house by yourself, but do make it to Wawa. Start your day strong and fuel up whenever you want to. Limited time exclusions apply. See Wawa.com for details. You guys know it. You got to have a Wawa.
Do we really want Tyrese Maxey playing defense against Nikola Jokic? No, you don't want that. You absolutely do not want that, especially with all the injuries going on right now with Philadelphia. No, it's not worth the risk, time, or money. And that's where Togo comes in when it comes to your businesses. The same idea applies to your businesses. For small and mid-sized businesses, competing with bigger companies isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. With competition heating up, you can't afford to fall behind. AI goes way beyond ChatGPT, and it gets overwhelming pretty fast. Togo streamlines your operations by handling customer service, accounting, order management, logistics, admin, and so much more. Every engagement starts with free process mapping, and Togo doesn't bill a dime until the real work begins. Program starts as low as $1,000 a month. and are built to scale without breaking the bank. So visit Harness Togo, that's TOGO.com, and mention PHLY for a free operational assessment. Back here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show, where they fall to the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight, 115-101. Let's get to the unsung hero. Talk a little hoops here. Presented by Togo. Great people from Togo. Operations outsourcing. Find Togo for all your needs there. All right, let's get to the unsung hero. Kyle, we debated a couple of guys, so let's just highlight them since we didn't talk a lot of basketball in the first segment outside of James Harden and Paul George. We can go to first.
Wait, you don't want to talk about Leonardo DiCaprio's breakthrough roles in the 1990s?
How was it? I think things turned out pretty good for him. Unsung hero all those years later back, but
he's pretty sung at this point.
Yeah. For this one though, for Justin Edwards off the bench, 5 for 6 in 28 minutes. He went for 14 points, which was second on the team in scoring tonight behind Quentin Grimes' 17. He made 3 of 4 from behind the 3-point line, 3 assists, 2 boards. He did have 2 steals as well in this one. For one who hasn't gotten a lot of minutes, he did perform pretty well tonight, and maybe this will also carry over to tomorrow night, where Nick Nurse, if he doesn't have, let's say VJ Edgecombe is not there, you already know that Joel Embiid and Paul George are not, he can at least look at what just took place tonight with Justin Edwards and maybe feel comfortable calling his number a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so I think the hope in games like these, as we move on from just ignoring it entirely, is that guys who are on the edges of the rotation, who are thrust into bigger roles, can sustain some sort of momentum, right? Like this is a game where Justin gets to play over 28 minutes. He's struggling to play like 8 minutes right now. And that's for guys who come into the league having always been the featured player or a featured player. It can be really difficult over a long season to always come in, play your 15 minutes, and provide any level of consistency, especially as a young player, right? You're just getting used to a much different lifestyle and role. And so you hope that with all the leeway that Justin had tonight, the first shot he hits was a pull-up 2, that he's probably not getting a lot of those in the flow of the normal offense. But then he hits a pull-up 3 when they gave him space. Mm-hmm. He's hitting some relocation 3s, catch and shoot in early offense. And so his inconsistency as a shooter has been a big problem, because we know the defense has been problematic all year. It's the biggest reason that Nurse hasn't played him. Hitting shots, even if it's in a game that they didn't mean anything or mean much to the final result, you hope that it just can be parlayed into maybe he has another good game tomorrow. Maybe he has a strong week. He plays well against Detroit. And then all of a sudden, hey, maybe Justin's out back in the rotation picture. And if you're Nick Nurse, you have real options, right? Because right now the options are, you play Trendon Watford and you live with, he's got some strengths, but he also doesn't want to shoot it. And when he did shoot it tonight, he wasn't making them from 3. And so that creates spacing issues. So I was encouraged by Justin. And then we talked a little bit about Dalen Terry as well. Didn't play as much until really the fourth quarter. He played, I think, the entire fourth. And the shot is not there. That is his biggest problem. It remains his biggest problem. But some interesting ball handling moments, like had a steal after a made basket for the Sixers that he then turned into an immediate 3. Nice little sequence as they're trying to climb back into the game unsuccessfully. And it's just a guy who was making stuff happen. Even had some nice off-the-dribble playmaking moments as well. So those are 2 guys that I look at, and I was like, I was happy with the way that they played tonight in their respective roles. Whether they can replicate that in a game that has higher stakes and in, closer to like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, probably not. But you hope for that, and you hope that as VJ and Maxey and some of these other guys come back, these type of guys can just hold down the fort until you get a Paul George, and these guys are relegated to just, end of the bench type stuff.
Yeah, no, I mentioned it in the first block briefly. I didn't realize we were skipping basketball for that block, but I mentioned Justin a little bit at the beginning. It was nice to see him get up a couple 3s. He's still the type of player where, like, he'll play 28 minutes, take 6 shots, and you're like, probably could have used a couple more from you. Like, he's a pretty selective player, but he did make a couple. I thought he took pretty good shots, showed a little bit of shot diversity, came up with some loose balls. Overall, a pretty good night for Justin. I think Kyle's right. Like, those kind of performances aren't going to win you this game, but you hope that they can then build up that confidence and parlay that into a little bit better basketball when it actually matters.
Well, that was like, not to bring up a sore subject, but Jared McCain, when they had that awful game against Charlotte, remember that fourth quarter was the first time in probably like a month and a half that we had seen him play genuinely good basketball. Got some shots to go down, and it was garbage time. It was meaningless. It was nothing. But for Jared, that meant something. That was, you're in an NBA game on an NBA floor, and you had a moment. And so we all sat there after that game, after we got through our criticism of the team and said, boy, they didn't even show up and they sucked and blah, blah, blah. We said, we hope that Jared can turn this into something. Yeah. And then he has a couple more good games. And then you trade him to OKC.
And he has a bunch more good games.
And so you just never know in an 82-game season what quarter, what game, what week can then turn into like an extended run of positivity. So I hope that Justin can parlay this into something, because he's been one of their biggest disappointments this year.
By the way, Jared McCain with 13 points in 21 minutes off the bench, a plus 18 and a 5-point game.
It's not going to stop.
And that's 13 points on 7 shots, by the way.
And Kyle said he just hit another 3. Kyle Wright in the chat says he just hit another 3. So there's that. I was especially interested tonight, not knowing if he was going to get his number called, but we talked about these guys a little bit earlier. I was especially interested in Dalen Terry because I didn't think much of him when they signed him as a two-way, except for an experiment that they can maybe take a peek at for the remainder of the season, go into the summer. If he plays in the summer league, even though he's been in the league for a little bit, plays in the summer league and is back with the team for training camp, I had some interest in seeing that. But tonight, seeing what I think we've known that he couldn't shoot. He couldn't shoot at Arizona when he was in college, but it was the slashing, the putting the ball on the floor, the athleticism, big guard, if you will, at 6'4", that can explode to the basket and do some things. And it hasn't worked out in Chicago. It was in a different type of role, and they just couldn't make it work overall. So him getting an opportunity here, nights like tonight, are meant for players like the ones that we were talking about. And I thought he acquitted himself pretty well. Once that first shot went down, you could see where he was really confident. He knew he was going to play because of the way the score was and the game was going to finish out. He knew he was going to get minutes, and he felt really comfortable out there on the floor. So both Justin Edwards and Dalen Terry, I would expect to see some maybe early minutes, even if it's a spot where it's at the final 5 minutes of the first quarter, final 4 minutes, and they just decide that they need to throw one or two of those guards in there. And Dalen Terry gets a nod over Tyrese Martin, who didn't play particularly well tonight, opposed to one of the other games that we saw, and see if he can build off of that a little bit while they still try to buy time for the other players, including Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, to come back. But he is the one. We've seen Justin Edwards. I know what Justin Edwards can do, and I expect him to knock down shots. And when he gets this opportunity, that's great. I'm not taking away from the night. But because Terry is new here and they still do need some big guards who can do other things, I was really interested in what he was going to be able to do, and he took full advantage of it.
And something Kyle brought up earlier I think was right. Like, I think he made some pretty decent passes. I just wish he could shoot like at all.
We'll forget about the one that he threw into the third row, but
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the Tyrese Martin experience the other night. Had some good passes, had some really bad ones too.
Yes. At some point, I mean, if things were always pretty much to what our super chat was about, if things were falling into place for this team the right way, when guys can't shoot, we watch players on other teams who can't shoot, but their energy, their athleticism, they come to the game and they make an impact. But when you bring a player like that in here, as Derek says, I wish he could shoot better. If the team construct was a little bit different, when you throw him out there and he doesn't make an outside shot, you don't care because he does all the other things. And guess what? Those 3 other guys are going to make those outside shots while he continues to do the other thing out there on the floor. Same thing with Dominic Barlow. We still wish he could shoot, but grabbing those rebounds, getting on the floor, doing all that extra dirty, the junkyard dog work, the 50-50 balls, he gets after those. If everybody was out there and he's just the one player that couldn't shoot but can make up for it in other ways, we might not even be talking about it as much as we have to with a prospect like Dalen Terry. That's the Togo Unsung Hero. 2 of them tonight, from Justin Edwards to Dalen Terry. You guys get the Togo Unsung Hero tonight, presented by Togo, the leader in operations outsourcing. Let Togo handle the work that gets in the way of your work. You call the plays, we execute at Togo. We can talk about Tyrese Maxey on the other side.
Yeah. We got some quotes from Nick Nurse on his hand/finger. Bring those to you very shortly.
So we'll do that on the other side, along with the stretch presented by Rothman. Sixers fall by 14. Wasn't that close, but they fell by 14, and we do give them credit for fighting out there tonight. When we come back, the stretch and Tyrese Maxey. Perfect for Rothman, too, since we're talking about a finger injury. Right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show.
Guys, managing your money doesn't have to be a struggle this year. If you're like me, you probably have a lot of travel that you want to do over the summer, and managing your money now can help make that possible. And we want to make sure that you set yourself up for financial success this year. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. My favorite thing about Monarch is how well it shows you exactly where your money is going, so you can make educated decisions on how to manage your finances better. Monarch isn't your average personal finance app. It's built to make you proactive, not just reactive. Monarch gives you automated tracking and clear projections. You can see that you're on your way to hitting that financial milestone. 8 out of 10 members feel more in control with their finances with Monarch. Set yourself up for financial success in 2026 with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code PHLY at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code PHLY.
All right, let me tell you about a local business that's been helping Philly homeowners and businesses stay pest-free. Evans Pest Control. This isn't some national giant chain here that they have. No, it's a family-owned, community-focused pest control company right here in the Philly area that's been earning the trust of neighborhoods for years. Evans Pest Control uses state-of-the-art equipment, safe and effective treatment options, and their techs, they go through continuous training so they're equipped to handle anything from rodents, insects, termites, and bed bugs. The weather is heating up. You don't want to see any of that stuff forming into your home. You want to get ahead of it right now with them. They have amazing reviews. They've won Best of Philly and the Philly Favorites Gold Award. So Evans Pest Control is the place for you. So if you see signs of pests or you just want to prevent them before they even start, reach out to Evans Pest Control. Evans PestMGMT.com to schedule your free consultation. That's Evans Pest Control at EvansPestMGMT.com. And we're back here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show. Cavs take down the Sixers 115-101. All right, let's get to we can talk about Maxey within the stretch since it's presented by Rothman. So let's get to the stretch presented by Rothman. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more. But let's get to the stretch and talk about Tyrese Maxey and what Nick Nurse had to say about his availability.
Yeah, so when we talked pregame, Derek and I, and also Devon, but Derek and I think we're more on the, hey, let's see what actually happens and what we learn with this hand issue, because while they avoided a break, which was good, we weren't sure what was going to come next. And so Nick Nurse gave some answers to reporters in Cleveland tonight that I think gets at what we were getting at. So Nurse said, quote, no breaks. Now he's got to see the hand specialist to figure out what's next. He seems okay and his spirits are good. He wants to be back, but he's got to see these people before we take the next step, which is a long way of saying they don't really know how they're going to deal with this yet and how he's going to deal with this. There was some footage on the broadcast tonight where we could see Maxey was wearing, it looked like and Bree has the photo up right now for those of you watching on YouTube and on Fast. There was a splint on Maxey's pinky. So he's got to have something on it right now. That's all we really know. And if he still has to see specialists about this, that suggests to me that he is probably going to miss more games later in the week as they figure this out, unless he's able to, like they land tomorrow, he sees somebody tomorrow, they have an update Tuesday night, and then he's able to travel and play in Detroit on Thursday. Feels a little bit optimistic to me. And I would assume he's probably going to see a couple different specialists to see, what are the upsides, downsides, what's your potential treatment plan, etc. So I don't have any kind of nuts and bolts information to go off of other than what Nick is saying. But this, I think, dovetails with the point that was made earlier, which is that while it's better than if they just came out and were like, hey, his hand's broken and he's in a cast, it is not as straightforward as, oh, he just misses a couple games and then he's back in the lineup. Like we are very much in the early stages before they say, here's what's going to happen, here's what he's able to do, and here's how this is going to impact the Sixers moving forward. So we have to keep a very close eye on this because even he and they do not know yet. It's important to note.
I just picking apart the words that Nick Nurse says, not broken. Didn't say anything about ligament damage. Right? Nothing in there.
At least that's not in the available quotes from there, and I don't have all the footage, so
no, just the quote
up, but that's just
the
those
quote.
Are the quotes we're going off of.
Find it that he mentioned no break, but no break, no ligament damage. Now he has to see the specialist. So, but we'll wait on that, and that's just a speculation because, look, we just want to see him out there and give themselves a chance to win because of the season that they've had, where they have positioned themselves to be a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference, one that's very dangerous when the players are healthy and available, or not suspended and available. And in this case, the specialist, I don't know, is it what can he wear? What can he tolerate? What can he wear on his pinky? Is it just that splint where he's able to play basketball and do some things there? He's always a threat out there, but if he's not able to do his typical step back threes or those deep threes off a bounce where he can just shoot it in his normal routine, his normal shooting motion without being really hindered by that finger, the specialist is well, here's the one thing. He's a professional athlete, so they can see a specialist pretty quick. And
he can get moved up the list.
Yeah, he can get moved up the list pretty fast. And we should hope that there's an answer pretty soon, maybe as early as Thursday, as Kyle pointed out, with the Pistons that they have to play. But even if he doesn't play against them, but he's ready for the Nets on Saturday once they figure it out. Because, I mean, who knows? Is it something that he can play with, that you have the two fingers, your pinky finger and your ring finger taped together? Is that something he
really
can do?
Really tough on the shooting hand. It's one thing when it's the guide hand.
Yeah,
but that is.
I don't know. I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. But I listened to what Kyle said, and the just the break is pointed out and not mentioning ligament damage at all.
Yeah, look, seeing a specialist could be anything. It could be like Devon said, like, do you have to put anything on there to support it? Or it could be anything drastic, like bad. We don't really know, but we've all watched the same team for as long as we have, so we all assume the worst, but we do still need a lot more information.
Yeah. Their stuff always happens at the wrong. I mean, it's never a good time, but it happens at the wrong time for this basketball team. Let's get to the rest of the stretch here with the schedule that we have for the Sixers. Coming up tomorrow, we have the Memphis Grizzlies, who fell tonight to the Brooklyn Nets, 126-115 in Brooklyn. So they're also on the second night of a back-to-back tomorrow.
Shorter travel for them.
Not
like it's a far flight from Cleveland, of course.
But they are 23-39. The Sixers are now 34-30. So, Kyle, as we said, that's a big game regardless. And the Detroit Pistons, who the Sixers will face when the Pistons host them on Thursday, they're now going to be taking on the Nets tomorrow in Brooklyn. So they face the Nets. So 2 teams that we have interest in facing the Nets. Grizzlies taking the L tonight. But, yeah, no matter what, we still look at that and say, steal that game. Take that game.
And the hope, I think, is that VJ will be back for this one. Now,
and you get a better Kelly Oubre performance than you did tonight. No foul trouble.
We had some people in chat and, tweeting at us, whatnot, who were like, how did Kelly only play, 14 minutes? I think he managed tonight. A lot of that was he couldn't stay out of foul trouble in the first half. And then the game
second
got
half
away from him. And I think I'll give Nurse credit for this. I think it was just go sit him down. Like, he doesn't need to. He's been sick recently. He's played a lot this year.
Yeah.
We play tomorrow. Yeah. Get him off the floor. Like, I don't have any problem with that in that situation. Had he not been in foul trouble, had it been a closer game, I think it plays out a lot differently. So this is one where I'm happy to see Nurse be a little bit proactive and say, we got to get tomorrow's game no matter who's on the floor. So let's do it that way.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot to ask of VJ to come back to the floor, having missed a few, and as the lead ball handler, lead this team to win. That is not going to be easy, because we've seen, even in games with Maxey available, when VJ is essentially the backup point guard, there are some real ups and downs for that experience. And a lot of his success has come this year with the ability to play off of Paul George, off of Joel Embiid, off of Maxey, dealing with the second side stuff rather than you're walking the ball down the floor every time and initiating the offense. But it'll be a good challenge for him. It'll be a good opportunity to get him tons of on-ball reps, assuming that he's able to play and get back on the floor. Mm-hmm. And end of the day, I enjoy watching him play, just like I enjoy watching Maxey play. So if he's available, interest level goes way, way higher in the game than it was tonight. And so fingers crossed that VJ is ready to go. And I did see, by the way, the last game in the stretch we're talking about here, the Denver Nuggets out in Denver. This year's MVP runner-up, or maybe third place finisher, will be playing in Denver. But the MVP just beat them tonight. I don't know if you guys were following along, but
Jerry McCain night.
Yeah, we were talking about McCain.
No, you missed the end of the game.
No, we didn't.
The end of the game, there was an away from the play foul after a Jokic three. They tied it with 4 points on one possession, and Shea hit a 25-foot three to end the game.
Yeah.
Pretty good player, that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't think it was quite a walk-off, because I think there was like a little bit of time left, but it was, that game was over.
Yeah.
So.
Going back to it, though, like the importance of tomorrow's game and the fact that it's on a back-to-back is why I wasn't really heartbroken about VJ not playing tonight. Like, keep him rested, bring him back against the game that matters, keep his legs fresh, because you have to get that one. And look, I know this was only a 14-point loss. I agree with Devon. The Cavs were barely trying. And like, even if VJ was here and they played a little harder, they would have smoked you. Like, VJ was not the difference between winning and losing this game. I don't think you were getting this game almost no matter what. The moment they, you got it close in the second half, Cleveland would have put their foot down and that game would have been over very quickly. Keep him fresh for tomorrow. Keep Kelly fresh for tomorrow. I'm 100% okay with that.
When it dipped below 20, they said, James Harden, get back in
You
there.
could tell James wanted to be done with that game. I was
Get back
like, y'all
in
really
there.
made me come back into this game and play.
Couldn't close this out without me.
When you said coasting earlier, Devon, I was thinking like, yeah, they were coasting and the Sixers got run over by a car that was parked. Was essentially how I would describe that game.
All right.
Maybe in neutral, and it's like somebody gave it a little push from the back.
A golf cart?
At best, yeah. But that car was not in gear. I would tell you that.
It was in neutral, going through the car wash for that one. That's The Stretch presented by Rothman. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY. When we come back, the rest of your super chats. We wrap this one up on this Monday night, first night of the back-to-back. Again, we'll give you some of the numbers of what happened with Memphis tonight, and we'll also give you the standings as the Sixers only team of the teams that they're fighting with that played tonight. So we'll update the standings of where the Sixers are after tonight's loss. It's the PHLY Sixers postgame show on this Monday night.
Spring is back, baby, and you know what that means. Rita's is back. That's right. It is the sweet sound of Rita's season. All your favorite frozen treats are back and better than ever. I can tell you some of my favorite frozen treats are better. I remember growing up, going to practices, getting out, you're all hot, sweaty, and you're like, man, I want a mango gelati right now. I want a blendini. Nothing hits like that first refreshing Italian ice of the season. Maybe you're a frozen custard person. Smooth, creamy. It's perfect every time. And if you really want to do it right, come on, get the gelati. Mango for me. I just tried that Shamrock cream ice too. Ooh, man, that was delicious. You guys got to get out there and try it. And don't forget to download the Rita's app. New app users get a free small gelati ice or custard with their first purchase. Free happiness waiting for you. Come into Rita's. Make this season the sweetest one yet with ice, custard, and happiness. Treat yourself to a scoop of happiness today. Be cool. Go to Rita's. Learn more at ritazice.com.
All right, let's talk about staying in the game, everybody. If pain is slowing you down, knee, shoulder, back, whatever it is, you're running out there along Kelly Drive. Maybe you're playing some outdoor pickleball, whatever you're doing, some tennis. Well, you don't have to just deal with it. the team at Rothman Orthopedics, they have you covered. They've been recognized as the #1 physician practice in the country by Castle Connolly for having the most top doctors in orthopedic care. That's elite expertise trusted nationwide. Getting started is easy. And all you have to do is head to rothmanortho.com/PHLY to schedule your appointment. You don't know what type of specialist you need to schedule with. Use their fast scheduler program to quickly connect with their VIP scheduling team to get you set up with the appropriate specialist for your injury, and they'll take care of you. Also, with Rothman now, it's easy to navigate there on the website. So book today at rothmanortho.com/PHLY and get back to doing what you love, pain-free. All right, final segment here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Derek, Kyle, Devon, Bree. Make sure you hit the like button, like and subscribe. You're hanging out with us. Hit that like button. We really appreciate the interaction as always. Still building the channel here. We're 2.5. What? Like 2.5? Yeah, 2.5 in. And we're still building things here. So spread the word. Let everybody know. Sixers basketball conversation right here, 3 p.m. on non-game days. And, of course, pre and post right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast and the PHLY network for all the great. I mean, look. The free agency frenzy with the Birds earlier today was crazy, with Julian Phillips leaving. Later on, the emergency podcast with N'Kobe Dean. Another emergency podcast, Reed Blankenship. All 3 of those players out.
Maybe tomorrow they'll actually get somebody.
Maybe. I mean, they have to fill some spots now.
Got some holes on the roster.
Yeah, they do. So go check those out. And also, big contract. Derek, Phils. Big contract.
Big contract.
Jamie.
What was it, like 135, something like that?
Yeah.
A big contract.
Yeah, so Jamie had an emergency podcast for the Phils there. And, of course, the Flyers also in postgame with us tonight as the Flyers fall big to the Rangers there tonight. So PHLY Network, tell a friend to tell another friend. Spread the word. We're here for everybody. We have all things covered here with your Philly sports on the PHLY network. All right, super chats from Bernard. Kyle, I agree with you about Harden, but if you get VJ Max and Khalil Ware and Kuminga like players, wins.
Yeah, I think they need more talent, and they need guys who are going to be on the floor with their talent that is already here. I think that's undoubtable. And I think, like, you know, as much as I relitigated the Harden thing, the main point is just that they need people who are going to be out there with Tyrese on a consistent basis. You can't do anything about freak injuries, and sometimes it's just the breaks of the season. Having a roster that hinges so much on 2 guys who are constantly unavailable, and this one from Paul being a self-inflicted error, is really tough to take, and it's the reason that Maxey's had to play 1 billion minutes this year. It's not a sustainable way to build a winning team.
And athletic like players, those guys.
Of course, yeah.
Need those athletes on the team for those 2 as an example. But look, I mean, the Kuminga one, none of us were like, yeah, go get him.
No.
But in the short stint that he had,
and they couldn't
with
even
Atlanta,
get him even if they wanted to, based on the contract.
In the short stint with Atlanta, he's played well. Simply couldn't wait to get out of Atlanta, out of Golden State, to get to another team, and that's showing well. Good group that he's with, especially with all the athletes, the interchangeable pieces that they have. And where we just talked about him during the draft. So he went 1 spot ahead of Jared McCain. So unless they
also didn't want anymore. So.
Yeah. So unless they moved up to get him, but they didn't want him, then there's that. But find players like that, Bernard. You're not wrong in getting some athletic guys that can play basketball for your team. Absolutely.
I love how our entire chat right now is arguing about Tyrese Maxey, who didn't play basketball tonight.
It's very fun. Very fun.
They're upset.
Come on, guys.
Davon says,
get it together.
Speculated on the improvements of our East competitors. I don't see it personally. There weren't any needle movers, in my opinion. Those are the quotes
Daryl Morey,
from Daryl Morey. Almost everyone killed us.
So I'm going to translate that in part. Josh won't let me pay the tax unless it's gonna really increase our championship odds, and those players weren't out there.
Derek, I think you have made a very astute point when this has come up a lot, which is that part of the problem is that if you already have to have a contender to justify the all-in moves at the deadline, But part of the reason that you don't have a contender is that you're not filling the 15th roster spot, that you're leaving yourself wiggle room to be under the tax at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
You're constantly setting yourself up so you can say, gee willikers, I guess we can't make that trade. What a shame. I guess I'll go collect some more helicopter fuel. It's just crazy that it keeps happening when we do the same thing going into every season and say that it's flexibility. Can't believe it happened again. Darn it. I was really hoping to deliver something for the city of Philadelphia this year while also trying to deliver something for the city of Newark and the general area of Washington, D.C.
Not doing a great job on any of those three fronts right now.
No, injury plagued in Washington this year. I can't say I know anything about why the Devils aren't good, but are they good? I don't even know.
I would love to see a team that would go out there and go up until the second apron and have some flexibility with trades in season, but that's not the team that we cover, sadly.
That can also bring us to the conversation we were having about the second round pick and a certain contract for a certain guy in Sacramento that could help a little bit.
That's just silly because that's not even increasing your burden this year. That's just an extra year on the end of the contract.
Just saying. So
got me making fun of Josh Harris by saying gee willikers up here. That's how dark the season has gotten.
All right, so that's our super chats. We appreciate everybody. Thank you so much. Real quick look at the standings, and then we have to get to something else non-Sixers related. And the standings tonight. Sixers are still in the 8th spot right now in the Eastern Conference standings. As we look at it, they are a game and a half back of the Miami Heat after tonight. And Orlando and Miami, because both teams right now are a game and a half in front of the Sixers. Sixers are 1.5 games up on the Atlanta Hawks and 2.5 right now on 2.5 on Charlotte at the moment. So not a great time. Miami has won 4 in a row. Orlando has won 4 straight and 6 in a row for the Atlanta Hawks. Sixers trending in the wrong direction at the exact wrong time for this basketball team. We had talked about them. Hey, maybe they can go on a run like they did a few years back and win not 17 in a row, but just going into the postseason, playing some pretty good basketball.
The play-in year they won, what was it, like 8 in a row, something like that? Yeah.
So still time because they have 18 games to go in the regular season, but not great right now. Not a good stretch for the Sixers. All right, let's get to the news of the day in the NBA. The Atlanta Hawks are no longer allowed to have Magic City night next Monday against the Orlando Magic. The NBA stepped in and said, no, you're not. That's not happening. We appreciate you celebrating your city, but you are not doing that. And everybody is talking about it on social media. And Kyle, let's talk about this with Magic City.
Nobody get fired today, all right?
Yeah, I'm going to be as reserved as I can be on this because I think the whole thing is just insane. I get on paper, it seems a little crazy that you'd have a promotion using a local gentleman's club that also happens to be famous for chicken wings. I also happen to think, Adam Silver, it's a little crazy that you would invite someone who was a domestic violence committer to the dunk contest that's supposed to be a signature event, that you allow women beaters to openly play in your league after pleading guilty to felonies. Like, I think that's I think if you're talking about what should matter to employees, partners, fans, etc., I think those are probably more noteworthy than something that is a cultural hub for a lot of people, for better or for worse. Having one night on a Monday night in Atlanta, I think that's probably a bigger deal personally. If we want to get into like the ethics of all the businesses that are attached to NBA teams and, the NBA in general, we can talk about the weapons manufacturers that had deals with the Portland Trail Blazers in the past, and that apparently was no big issue. we could talk about some of the alternative currencies that are sponsors for teams around the league and name sponsors that literal fraud is committed through basically all the time. So I don't know. It just like, I get it. I can hear the argument. I understand where it's coming from. I do think it's a little bit of like picking and choosing when they're not consistent on this at all. I will also note, and this was part of some of the reporting today from other outlets, so credit to the Associated Press as well as other people. I did not realize that Tony Ressler, who's the owner of the Hawks, his wife actually produced an entire docuseries about Magic City and its prominence to culture in Atlanta. So I would imagine she and the people involved with the Hawks probably know a little bit more about its connection to Atlanta culture than Adam Silver does, and that, you know, various other people who are crying and complaining like Al Horford do. But, you know, to each their own, I guess.
No, and this is, I'm going to try to be careful how I word this. In terms of companies and industries that partner with the league, this is nowhere near the most problematic. It's nowhere near. The problem is this doesn't bring in the revenue those problematic companies and industries bring in. Like this is not bringing in enough money for them to put up with the outroar. That's it.
Yeah.
It's silly. It's silly.
And Magic City was already a very popular thing. Now it's...
it's not like the story went away.
Yeah. I mean, now it's just going to be, hey, we're in Atlanta. Let's go. And so we'll see. I did see that Atlanta, the Hawks, the Twitter account did say that T.I. is still going to be the halftime entertainment performing there. That's different entertainment than what was, we don't know what was going on that night, but he was still going to be doing that. And they had a few other things that's still going on. The only thing we didn't see, or I didn't see, maybe Kyle, you or Derek did, or Bree, about the sweatshirts that they were promoting and
those things are beautiful, there. Man. They're a collector's item.
Who knows? Who knows what happens with the sweatshirts as things go for the Magic City hoodies for the Atlanta establishment that everybody's talking about.
First, like also the graphic with the chicken wings.
It's like my favorite part.
Poking out from behind the hoodie. It just has killed me. Like it struck my funny bone every time I watch. So I get it. I would say I don't have a problem with them canceling it. I have a problem with them canceling it, and then you think for like 30 seconds about all the other stuff that apparently is allowed to fly from players, stakeholders. Well, I hate that word, by the way. It's such a PR gobbledygook word. It's just ridiculous. Stakeholders, partners, whatever words you want to use. There are all kinds of awful people associated with giving money to, working in the NBA. A lot of good people as well. So it just felt like a weird battle to fight to me, given some more serious societal problems that we could probably discuss.
Let's keep the NBA wholesome. Now let's go to the single game parlay for Miles Bridges.
Exactly.
Dude, they literally today had to announce that they were getting another pick sent to the Miami Heat over the Terry Rozier gambling conspiracy that he's still under investigation for, because things were not properly communicated to the Heat at the time of trade. Like, I don't know. I feel like you have bigger fish to fry personally, like maybe the entire integrity of the league for one, but just one man's opinion.
All right, let's go to overtime here on this post-game show. We thank everybody on the television side. We'll see you tomorrow at 6:30 for pregame Sixers Grizzlies. That's tomorrow on Tuesday right here on the PHLY Sixers pregame show, 6:30, Grizzlies, Sixers back here in South Philly. So there'll be three of us here tomorrow. Kyle, back at the arena tomorrow, Kyle?
I don't know. We haven't figured that out.
Oh.
I guess we'll find out.
One of these guys won't be here tomorrow. I'll be here. Bree will be here. We'll be here with you tomorrow right here on the PHLY Sixers pre- and post-game show. One final thing on the game tonight. Kyle brought this to our attention at the very beginning of the game.
Overtime, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
All right. Kai Carlin of USA Today posted a picture from the arena.
It's killed me.
And he posted it from the Jumbotron where they had the Sixers starting lineups up on the Jumbotron. And they had all 5 of the players as they were being announced in the arena, and they had Bona, Barlow, along with Kelly Oubre and Quentin Grimes starting tonight for the Philadelphia 76ers at point guard was not Payne. It was, what was the name we called them?
Well, they showed a picture of Jared McCain.
They showed a picture of Jared McCain with Cameron Payne's name under Jared McCain's face. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Cleveland.
That's how it started tonight.
Reminder.
See, now, look, Cleveland screwed up, but this is all the Sixers' fault for giving campaign number 20. Should not have happened. Should not have happened.
But hey, at least campaign was what, 4 or 12 tonight?
Yeah. Cameron McPayne, I think we called him. Something.
Cameron McPayne.
Cameron McPayne showed up on the
McPayne
Jumbotron.
going around.
A lot of McPayne after tonight's game as well. And the Sixers fall in this one tonight, 115-101. So, good job by Kai Carlin to see that and say, hey, that's not that guy. He's not playing here tonight. He just helped OKC win their game tonight, close one against the Denver Nuggets. Also, did you guys see Lou Williams with the new commercial?
I didn't, no.
Lou has a Buffalo Wild Wings wing commercial, lemon pepper wing commercial.
Of course he does.
Yes, he does.
You
now,
talk about a guy who might host the Magic City.
I was going to say, get him on a lie detector, see which wings he prefers.
Fair. But he did leave the bubble to go get some.
I was going to say, he hasn't broken any bubble curfew for Buffalo Wild Wings.
We haven't had a second bubble, so we don't have a control for the experiment to see if he would leave for his partnership with Buffalo.
There you go. All right, that'll do it for us here tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, 6:30. Sixers Grizz, big game tomorrow. It's the Grizzlies, but you need to win that one.
Do the Magic City ones have bones in them, or are they chicken nuggets?
Good question.
Here we go again. I'm not doing this.
Do some research.
I will not be baited. Roll call, everyone.
Research on that.
Time for the roll call. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for humoring our nonsense, including talking about movies and Game of Thrones and Magic City and chicken nuggets versus chicken wings and all the other crazy stuff we're talking about on here. And the Sixers, of course. That's why most of you are here, but thanks for humoring everything else. Thank you, first of all, for the $50 super chat.
It's still wild.
So I actually got to make sure that the name is correct.
We got a second one, too. Another
Enya Lois or
Enya Lois.
I'm going to say Enya Lois. That's what it looks like. I'm just going to.
We thank you.
Thank you, whoever you are, wherever you are. Don't see a lot of those. So thank you for the donation. Citizen X with a late one says, let's get serious. We need to unload Embiid and Paul George. Need to accept the rebuild and not trade future players like Jared McCain. Discuss.
We're disgusted.
No. Cannot trade Joel Embiid because you're going to give up all of your assets and kill your rebuild.
Yeah, I think the offseason, there's probably a discussion about the Paul George side of things. A more realistic one. I don't see a world where Joel gets moved and it's anything less than a harmful act by the organization because of what it will cost to get off that contract right now. Look, when we were in January and he's cruising and it's looking like, hey, maybe he is going to be able to stay on the floor and upright for long periods of time. Maybe you could have convinced somebody then. I doubt it. I think there was still a lot of time left. Sure aren't convincing anybody right now. Not after the series of issues that have now put us back right where we've always been. Anyone else?
I saw a funny tweet about the hoodies and chicken wings.
All right. Well, thank you to everybody, including Citizen X as a super chatter. Thank you also to Bernard and to our guy Schoolboy for their super chats
everybody.
Today. And Enya Lois, once again, thank you. Thank you for the big donation today. Thank you to Big AD. Thank you to JT, Greeny Green. Boy, that sounds like a Celtics combo right there between the two of them. Ren Mike, Jay the Jungle.
What up, Jay?
Headfoot Jess, Val, my girl Nona, Jazz.
Hey, ladies.
Terry Hayden, Walter Phillips, Philly Sheriff, Mom's grandchildren. What's up to Mom? I think this is supposed to be Roadblock 84, RDBLK. Does that sound reasonable to you?
Sure.
I'm saying Roadblock.
What up, Roadblock?
RDBLK, if it means something else. as long as it's appropriate for me to say on the air, please inform me and I'll get it right the next time. Thank you to Mr. James. Thank you to Kyle Wright, Theo, X-Man, Sovereign Redemption.
What up, X?
SB Cole, Sir Shmooey, A. Ron, Eugene
Aaron.
Ross,
Jeez.
Walt in the building.
What up, Walt?
Thank you to Miles Johnson. The Teach Game Reloaded. I think that might be our friend. The number one. Well, not the number one. Maybe the number 2 Ace Bailey supporter in the
I hope
chat.
the fam's doing well.
I was going to
buddy.
say, I hope the family is doing well. We got to circle back with you at some point soon.
Yes, sir.
If that's you. If it's another person, then
That'd be a
forget
heck
we
of a
said anything. It'd be
coincidence.
really awkward. But thank you to Teach Game. Thank you to AC Phila as well, and John Peace, and all of our other wonderful supporters that are here, even after a game like that. I can't believe that we have friends who still want to hang out with us and listen to us chat about this team in situations like this. Guys, we will be back. I don't know which 3 of us will be back, but 2 of us at least
Me
will
and
be
Bree
back.
will be here.
Tuesday, Devon will be here. Bree will be here for Grizzlies Sixers. Pre-game and post-game. Be there, be square. Hopefully VJ is at the game and playing as well. Not just at the game, but playing in the game. So all we can hope for at this point. Make sure on the way out tonight, if you had fun, if you thought you learned something, if you just enjoyed hanging out with all of us, hit the thumbs up button because it helps out the channel a great deal. It also makes us feel warm and fuzzy inside and says thank you to super producer Bree, making it all happen. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live. I also miss my guy, Rick Morse. I think was the first chatter in here today. Thank you, Rick, for being here. Thank you, all of you, for being here. Until next time, stay safe, take care of one another. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.